Welcome, jewels of inestimable value. Not all who are broken become lost. Some learn to walk with their scars and call it strength. The Sigma female is a mystery wrapped in resilience, a woman who wears her independence like armor. Beneath this strength, however, lies a childhood marked by deep trauma, wounds that have carved her path and shaped her identity. She doesn't openly display her pain, but it lingers beneath the surface, silently sculpting her will and fueling her quest for solitude and authenticity. The scars she carries are not weaknesses, but lessons etched into her very being. This is the story of a woman who, rather than crumbling under the weight of her past, transformed it into unshakable power. What does it mean to endure in silence, to turn emotional suffering into strength? Step into the world of the Sigma female and uncover the extraordinary journey from childhood trauma to formidable self-reliance. Number 1. The unseen battles with vulnerability. Vulnerability for the Sigma female is a battle fought in silence. Growing up with childhood trauma, she learns early on that opening up about her pain often leads to disappointment or betrayal. So she becomes her own protector, building walls to keep the world out. But these walls aren't just there to guard her. They're a way to maintain control over the emotions that could easily overwhelm her. She faces the constant struggle of wanting to be seen for who she really is, but fearing that revealing too much will make her vulnerable to more hurt. Her silence isn't emptiness. It's a complex dance between strength and fear. She feels deeply but doesn't let those feelings control her actions. Instead, they become part of her quiet fight. She resists showing weakness because in her experience, that's when people strike. Her strength comes not from avoiding her emotions, but from controlling when and how she lets them surface. This internal struggle shapes her into someone who doesn't need to be validated by others. Her greatest battle is with herself. Yet deep down, she yearns for someone to see past her defenses, to understand the storms she keeps hidden. But until she finds that, she holds her vulnerability tightly, guarding it like a secret she's not sure she's ready to share. Number 2. Silent scars that shape strength. The Sigma female carries her scars in silence, and while others might wear their pain openly, she keeps hers tucked away like an old letter no one's allowed to read. These scars aren't visible, but they shape who she is at her core. They've turned her into someone who doesn't break easily, someone who knows how to survive even when things get tough. Instead of letting her trauma define her, she's used it to build a quiet, unshakable strength that others often underestimate. She's the kind of person who has been through so much that the usual drama doesn't faze her anymore. While others are panicking over minor setbacks, she's calmly sipping her coffee thinking, "You call that a problem? Cute." Her silent suffering has toughened her, but it hasn't made her bitter. Instead, it's given her a kind of resilience that can't be taught or faked. She's the one who walks through life with an unspoken confidence, not because she's never been hurt, but because she knows exactly how to handle it when she is. The funny thing is, people often assume she's just naturally strong, not realizing her strength is the result of years of quiet battles fought in the dark. She's not loud about her pain, and she doesn't look for pity. If anything, she's learned to find a bit of humor in it all, like, "Oh, life's throwing more chaos my way. Guess it's Tuesday." But beneath that humor is a person who's built her strength from the inside out, shaped by the scars no one sees. And that's what makes her so formidable. She's not just surviving, she's thriving on her own terms. Number 3. The mask of detachment. The Sigma female has mastered the art of detachment, not because she doesn't care, but because it's how she protects herself. The mask she wears is one of cool indifference, a shield that keeps her emotions hidden from view. It's not that she's unfeeling, in fact, she often feels too much. But showing those emotions, especially in a world that's already let her down, is a risk she's not willing to take. Her detachment is like an invisible cloak. No one really knows what's going on underneath, and that's exactly how she likes it. This isn't about playing games or pushing people away for the sake of it. It's a strategy, a form of self-preservation she's developed over time. She's learned that being too open, too available, often invites people to take advantage or misunderstand her. So, she keeps her distance, not out of coldness, but out of necessity. This mask of detachment is a way for her to navigate the world without getting overwhelmed by it. It's a way to remain in control when emotions start to bubble up. She knows how to keep things in check, to avoid the drama that often comes with being too open, too vulnerable. But while her exterior might seem aloof, those close to her know it's a front, one that shields her from the chaos of the outside world. It's not that she doesn't want connection. She just wants to make sure it's worth the risk of taking off that mask. Jules, if you're enjoying this video, hit subscribe for more and share it with anyone who might appreciate it. Your support means a lot. Now let's continue. Number 4, hyper-independence, the armor of self-reliance. For the Sigma female, hyper-independence isn't just a choice, it's a way of life. Growing up with trauma, she learned early on that relying on others could lead to disappointment. So she made a decision. She'd rely only on herself. She's the person who fixes her own problems, opens her own doors, and probably has a toolkit somewhere in her car just in case. If there's one thing she knows how to do, it's handle things on her own, even when she doesn't have to. This fierce self-reliance is like armor, built to keep her safe from the unpredictability of depending on others. Sure, people might offer help, but she's usually already 5 steps ahead, thinking, it's not that she doesn't trust people. It's just that she trusts herself more. It's her way of making sure she never feels helpless again. Her independence is impressive, but it can also be exhausting. She's the type to power through, juggling everything on her own, even when she's running on fumes. And when someone suggests she should maybe ask for help, she'll probably smile and say, while secretly wondering why no one invented a 30-hour day. The truth is, her hyper-independence is her way of staying in control, of never giving anyone the chance to let her down. But beneath that self-sufficient exterior is someone who, deep down, might actually want to lean on someone else for a change. She just doesn't know how. Asking for help feels foreign, like admitting defeat. So instead, she keeps going, taking on the world by herself because honestly, she's pretty good at it, but every now and then she wonders what it would feel like to let someone in, if only for a moment. Number 5, emotional alchemy, turning pain into power. The Sigma female has an uncanny ability to turn pain into power. What others might see as a setback, she views as raw material for growth. It's not that she doesn't feel the hurt, she does, often more deeply than people realize. But instead of letting it consume her, she works through it, finding a way to transform that pain into something meaningful. It's like emotional alchemy, taking the heaviness of her experiences and refining them into strength, resilience, and wisdom. When life throws her curveballs, she doesn't crumble. She absorbs the impact, learns from it, and emerges stronger, even when the process is messy and exhausting. The pain becomes fuel, not for revenge or bitterness, but for self-improvement. It's her way of taking control of what could have easily broken her and flipping the narrative. Instead of being defined by her trauma, she redefines herself through it. There's something deeply empowering about this process. It gives her a sense of agency over her life, especially when everything feels chaotic. The pain she's endured has taught her patience, grit, and a deeper understanding of herself. It has become her power source, one that fuels her to keep moving forward no matter what. And while others might wonder how she remains so composed, she knows that it's not because she hasn't been hurt. It's because she's mastered the art of turning that hurt into something that propels her forward. She doesn't dwell on what could have been, or the what-ifs. Instead, she uses every experience, good or bad, to carve out a future that's hers, fully owning her pain and her power in equal measure. Number 6. The complex relationship with control. The Sigma female has a complex relationship with control. It's not just something she likes, it's something Growing up with trauma often means experiencing situations where she felt powerless, and that's a feeling she refuses to tolerate anymore. So she holds on to control like it's a lifeline, making sure every detail of her life is managed, calculated, and under her watchful eye. But it's not about controlling other people or situations just for the sake of it. It's more about protecting herself from the chaos she knows too well. By keeping a tight grip on her life, she creates a sense of stability in a world that once felt unpredictable. Whether it's in her career, her personal life, or even her emotions, she's the one calling the shots, and she'll do whatever it takes to keep it that way. Still, there's a downside to always being in control. It can be exhausting, constantly holding everything together and never letting your guard down. She's learned to manage the weight of it all, but sometimes that need for control keeps her from relaxing or trusting others fully. Letting go feels dangerous, like stepping off a cliff without knowing if there's a safety net below. Yet, she's aware of this tug-of-war within herself. On one hand, control gives her peace of mind. On the other, it's a barrier to truly connecting with others or embracing the uncertainty that life sometimes requires. She's not someone who gives up control easily, but there's a part of her that wonders what it would be like to let go, if only for a moment, and trust that things will still turn out okay. Number 7. The unbreakable will to protect. For the Sigma female, the drive to protect is instinctual, almost primal. It's not just about defending herself, she's been doing that her whole life. But it's also about guarding those she loves. Her childhood trauma taught her what it's like to feel vulnerable and exposed, and she's vowed to never let that happen to the people who matter to her. If someone gets close enough to earn her trust, she will go to great lengths to keep them safe, sometimes even at her own expense. She has an unbreakable will to shield those around her from harm, whether it's physical, emotional, or even self-inflicted. She's the friend who will sit in silence with you when you're hurting, the partner who will stand by your side when things fall apart, and the person who will fight for you, even when you don't know you need fighting for. Her protectiveness is fierce, but it's also quiet. She doesn't make grand gestures or loud declarations, but you can feel her presence like a fortress around you. However, this protective instinct can sometimes be overwhelming even for her. She takes on other people's burdens because she knows what it's like to carry the weight of the world on her shoulders. But the flip side of this is that she rarely allows anyone to protect. She's so used to being the strong one that letting someone else step in feels foreign, almost like a weakness. But deep down she knows that part of being strong is allowing others to help shoulder the load. Still, when push comes to shove, nothing will stop her from protecting the people she cares about. She has a quiet, relentless strength that makes her a force to be reckoned with. The world may have tried to break her, but it only sharpened her instincts and fortified her resolve to never let anyone she loves go through the same. Number 8. Forging an unconventional path. The Sigma female never follows the beaten path. She's too busy creating her own. Her childhood trauma shaped her in ways that make conforming to society's expectations nearly impossible. Instead of bending to fit into a mold that was never made for her, she chooses to forge her own way, even if it means walking alone most of the time. She doesn't crave the validation that comes from fitting in or following trends. While others may chase the idea of success defined by others, she defines it for herself. Her trauma gave her a deep understanding that life is too short to live on anyone else's terms. She's the one who questions the rules, who asks when others say, "This unconventional path isn't always easy." Sometimes it's isolating and sometimes it's filled with doubt. But the alternative, compromising who she is, feels far worse. She's learned that the price of being true to herself is worth far more than the comfort of fitting in. Her journey may not look like anyone else's, but that's the point. She's not afraid to take risks, to challenge the status quo, or to reinvent herself when the situation calls for it. She thrives in the space between the expected and the unknown. What others might see as chaos or uncertainty, she views as freedom. Her independence, her resilience, and her determination push her forward, even when the road ahead is unclear. And while her choices might confuse or even intimidate others, she knows that the only approval she truly needs is her own. Number 9. The search for authenticity. For the Sigma female, the search for authenticity is more than a quest. It's a necessity. Growing up with trauma has made her intolerant of pretense. She spent too much of her life surrounded by facades and superficiality to waste time on anything less than genuine. This quest for authenticity shapes every interaction and decision she makes. She doesn't have the patience for small talk or half-hearted gestures. She wants the real deal, whether it's in friendships, relationships, or personal experiences. She has a finely tuned radar for detecting when people are putting on an act. She's been burned before by people who seemed one way but turned out to be entirely different. Now she demands transparency and honesty, and she's not afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't meet her standards. Her search for authenticity drives her to constantly reevaluate her own life as well, ensuring that she remains true to her values and beliefs, no matter how much the world tries to sway her. This pursuit isn't just about avoiding the fake. It's about finding what truly resonates with her. She seeks out experiences and relationships that align with her true self, rather than conforming to what's expected or popular. In a world full of noise and imitation, she values the quiet moments of real connection and genuine emotion. Her insistence on authenticity can sometimes leave her feeling isolated, as not everyone is prepared or willing to meet her on the same level. But she's learned to embrace this solitude, knowing it's a small price to pay for living a life that's completely her own. To her, authenticity isn't just an ideal. It's the foundation of everything she strives for and the essence of who she truly is. Number 10. The quest for solitude. The Sigma female's quest for solitude is not about shunning company or isolating herself for its own sake. Instead, it's a deep-seated need for a space where she can truly reconnect with herself. Amid the noise and chaos of daily life, she finds solace in moments of quiet and reflection. This solitude isn't about running away. It's about creating a sanctuary where she can recharge and make sense of her inner world. Her desire for solitude is rooted in the intense introspection that trauma often brings. She needs this time alone to process her thoughts, sort through her emotions, and find clarity. It's in these quiet moments that she does her most profound thinking and healing. When the world outside is too overwhelming or demanding, she retreats to her own mental and emotional safe space, where she can be her most authentic self without any external pressures. For her, solitude is both a refuge and a resource. It's where she gathers her strength, refines her purpose, and plans her next steps. It's not about avoiding people, but about ensuring that when she does engage with the world, she does so from a place of strength and self-awareness. Solitude allows her to maintain her balance and focus, making sure that she doesn't lose herself in the expectations and demands of others. In her world, solitude is a cherished commodity, a time when she can be alone without being lonely. It's a place of quiet empowerment where she can reflect on her past, understand her present, and shape her future. While others might see her need for alone time as a sign of detachment, she sees it as an essential practice for maintaining her mental and emotional well-being. For the Sigma female, this quest for solitude isn't just a preference, it's a vital part of who she is. In navigating the complexities of life shaped by childhood trauma, the Sigma female stands as a powerful testament to resilience and self-reliance. Her journey is marked by an intricate dance between control and vulnerability, independence and connection, solitude and engagement. She transforms her pain into strength, channels her need for authenticity into meaningful relationships, and meticulously forges her own path in a world that often misunderstands her. Her quest for solitude isn't an escape but a sanctuary that fuels her growth and understanding. Her story is one of quiet fortitude and profound depth. It's a reminder that strength isn't just about enduring, it's about evolving and thriving despite the scars that life may leave behind. The Sigma female's resilience redefines what it means to overcome adversity, demonstrating that even in solitude there is power and in independence there is profound connection. As she continues to carve out her unique space in the world, she embodies the extraordinary ability to turn the trials of her past into the triumphs of her future. Thanks for watching, Jules. See you in the next video. Bye for now and stay blessed.